Hello and welcome to part 27. Yes. Hello and welcome to part 27 of fixing up this Jaguar 420G. Three major things have happened, or three repairs have happened, which makes me a lot more confident in registering this once again. Those are transmission repairs. We have fixed the transmission from the last episode. It actually drives amazingly. Best it's ever driven, really. And it was a very simple fix, fortunately enough, and we'll go through that. Something I'd never talked about is the power steering never really worked on this car. Leaked like a sieve. I thought it was part of the power. I thought the power steering box was the issue, but it wasn't. We'll touch on that in a sec. Also, I got the headlights working. We won't touch on that majorly, but essentially I rewired the dipper switch to like a toggle switch, and all these headlights work again, so that's all sorted. So the headlights work, the brake lights work, the indicators work, the interior lighting works, the engine sublume works, everything electrically works on this car. So you're not going to see much here because it's hard to describe. Hopefully the mobile phone video I took is adequate. So essentially what the issue was transmission flush. That's all it needed. My theory from the last episode was correct, as in all the gunk at the bottom of the pan would float up to the filter and clog it, and it would repeat as I turn off the engine and restarted it. So I dumped the oil the first time. It had a lot of clutch particulates inside of it. I was a bit worried. However, it still picked up all three gears before it would just shut off. So I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, alright, look, I've got some oil left. I'll just fill it back up. I'll dump it, clean it, put it back on, fill it back up, see where we're at. Okay, so I got the car back on jack stands to check out this transmission, and it's not looking good. This is a brand new transmission, Model 12, that we just put in, and it's full of, let's see here, just full of sediment, just bad things. And that's all like crunchy stuff too. Like, so I deposited a whole bunch of junk in here. You know, the transmission fluid's really dark. Yeah, you can see. Looking underneath the car, you can see that the transmission filter is full of muck, and that transmission fluid is all contaminated. So, what's the plan? I'm hoping, because the transmission was shifting so well, that we can just do a fluid change anyway. Might be a waste of fluid, but it's the only thing I've really got at this stage to do. God damn, it's like sand in here, you know? Hello, push. Don't drink it. Don't drink that. Do not drink that. Yeah, good boy. Good Mr. Kitty. Isn't it? Mr. Meow Meow. Do not drink that. I'm going to have to tip that to make sure you don't get to it. I don't know if you actually would or not, but I don't want to try. You're pretty dumb. Okay, so just getting the pan back on now. That's all cleaned out. The filter's all been cleaned out. It's just the tedious process now of getting all this pan bolts back in, dropping it down, putting some fluid into it, seeing what happens. What's keeping me sane too is like doing Michael Jackson's Shimona, you know, just as I'm bolting it, it actually really helps, like, you know, monkeying around and shit. Alright, so just taking it out for a cruise now after the first oil change. That was about, I think I put about 3.5 liters back into it. That's what came out of the pan, and it seems to be driving all right. Again, it's a time-based thing where eventually the it will just lose all of its gears. So I'm going to keep driving it until there's problems. So let's see how we go. Holy shit. pan off for a second time. The fluid looks a bit cleaner, but there we go. Bottom of the pan, the littlest amount of glitter. No chance. Sludgy though, that's its problem, it is a bit sludgy. Dump that out after 2 weeks, check the condition of the pan. There was like a film of sediment at the bottom, which is not good, but you know, it wasn't debris at least. Dumped that out, cleaned it, put it back together, filled it back up with oil, and that's where we're at now. We're on a second oil change, and again, it still ships absolutely perfectly. Now, why don't you look at that? The hood is back on the car and looking great. I haven't washed it yet, so it's all dusty, but there's still 1 or 2 more jobs I need to do to get this actually registered. I want it to be a little bit nicer to drive this time than it was last time, and here I'll show you what's going on. Alright, so what's up? Look at it. I actually got covered from the elements. So what we're dealing with the pump here is I found out that there's a high pressure line down there that's actually leaking, and it's pissing really bad. So I've got no power steering anymore, and I'm shopping around for quotes at the moment to get that line made up. The low pressure hose doesn't concern me too much, because honestly that hose can be made of anything. The high pressure one, yeah, I do need that to be made. All right, so I just came back from Pertec. I got these hoses made up. This is part of the power steering system. They reuse the fittings for these 2 hoses. Since this is a low pressure hose, it didn't require that much of a strong crimp. This one, they've used something wild here, and this all came out to $232. Anyway, I'm going to try to fit these on. They've actually cleaned up the fittings really nicely, which is happy to see that. And yeah, the hoses look great, so I'll fit this on, see if it solves my power steering leak, and yeah, we can finally take this out for a test drive. Now I'm fitting these new power steering lines, and it's a bit of a tight fit around the steering box. But something I wanted to mention before I fit all this back together for sure is that the steering pump, just as an FYI, GM Saginaw, so if that helps, there you go. They're just Saginaw pumps. I'm pretty sure they were just used on 350 Chevs or Chev V8 motors, so very common part on an uncommon engine. So let's keep putting this back in. Okay, testing out my power steering system now. Yeah, it's fluidy. It's not from the power steering system though, that's from the overflow of the carburetors, and it just dumped a whole bunch of fuel on the ground. Nice one, very cool. Really worth the cash that I paid to have this repaired, because oh my god, this car's an actual dream to drive. Here's a video of me driving it, you know. The steering of this is so much easier. So the power steering fix was a success. It wasn't the power steering box, it was the power steering lines, which is fantastic to know. So worth it. I mean, look at this. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. The safety of this car is like massively improved. Pretty groovy, you know. So, and trust me, like, it doesn't come across on video, but like, it's so much safer driving this car because the wheels just turn so much quicker. You can make corners so much faster. You can react a lot quicker. So it actually drives so much better now. Like high speed, straight line. And I'm telling you, it is super light. It's a bit scary how light it is actually. But it reminds me of my old CM 1979 Valiant CM Chrysler Regal, which also had over boosted steering. So this is right at home with me, like real boulevard driving car experience now. So such a pleasure to drive this. It doesn't feel like I'm driving such an absolute tank, which is awesome. So that's going to conclude it for this episode. I'm thinking next episode it's going to be registered. All the vitals are good, like the water temperature is great, the oil pressure is great, the transmission is fantastic, the power steering is fantastic. I frankly never want to leave this car. Like, I start driving it and I just don't want to get out. Yeah, so it's really pleasant to drive now, so that's going to have to be it. Thank you very much for watching.